Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
There are two issues that are really worrying me. One is who's provoking whom? In other words, we know that Iran is taking actions. We're taking actions. We declared their IRGC as a terrorist organization. That has ramifications for them. We've ratcheted up the sanctions substantially. We've moved major military assets to the Middle East. Are they reacting because they're concerned about what we're doing, or are we reacting because we're concerned what they're doing?
Everybody needs to calm the blank down. Everybody just calm down. Breathe. It is, for those of you not keeping score, because we've been watching what's going on with Alabama and Georgia and today Missouri when it comes to choice and pro-life, pro-choice, the immigration debate hotting up, and we got the thing going on with trade. All the while, they have started to, how should we say this? They've started to puff out their chest, the people and the powers that be, when it comes to Iran and us. And they started that stare down, right? And everybody just needs to take a deep breath because it is starting to escalate and it could get ugly fast. And for those of you who don't know, it's not just us. Saudi Arabia, there was in their biggest paper today, there was an op-ed piece that basically said we need to attack now. Not us, but the Iranians. That's who they need to go after. It is getting very tense over there, but we're in this weird situation here where it feels like that we're overthinking, overstepping. And there's a piece today talking about just John Bolton, the most dangerous man in the planet. Because he is a bit of it seems to be very hawkish on war. And I was talking to, luckily Mike Pompeo seems to be very level-headed, where he's like, okay, this is happening. Chill. Let's just chill. Let's just all take a deep breath. And Trump's worried that Bolton's getting him into something that he didn't want to be in. He wants to get out of stuff. He doesn't want to get into stuff. Now, if there's a reason for it, that is one thing. But is there a reason for this kind of escalation at this moment in time?
And that raises my second concern, which is miscalculation. The Guns of August, one of the great books ever written about the origin of World War II, nobody really knew how it started. And it started small and it escalated. And that's what worries me, miscalculation.
Yeah, miscalculation. Well, we kind of know how it started. I mean, we knew what he was trying to do. But, it was like it was just little things along the way. It's the drip, drip, drip. Because you don't come out in one day and say, we're starting a war. It's a drip, drip, drip effect. And then eventually somebody does something. You ever watch any of those old Westerns where everybody's kind of facing off and there's several of them? Like Tombstone's one of the great ones. And it just takes Doc Holliday just a little wink or a little nod or to do something that scares somebody else. And that what could have been a calm situation escalates really fast and then it's too late. So I just think everybody needs to breathe.
For example, the Shia militia in Iraq, which are not fully under control of the Iraqi government or at all. They're partially affiliated with Iran, but are they really under control? Let's say a group of people from the Shia militia attack Americans. Is that an Iranian attack, or is that something that could trigger an escalation by us versus Iran, and then suddenly we're on the ladder? That's what's worrying me, and that's why I think the president is absolutely right, according to the reporting that we've heard this morning, to slow this thing down and express a little restraint on some of his advisors who seem to be getting us into a position where something pretty awful could happen.
Angus King right there, and he's right. And Trump is doing that. He's saying, "Hey, Bolton, you need to calm down. All right, let's take a step back here for a second. All right, let's just breathe a little bit. Let's just see what's going on. I don't want to get anything I don't have to get into. I got other stuff going on. I want to focus on here, and I got a trade thing going on with China. Let's deal with those things. You don't need to get me into something else." Now, granted, if Iran goes and does something ridiculous, then yeah, we have to answer. But are we there yet? No. Is it escalating? Feels a little bit like that. Somebody just take a deep breath for a second. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Of course, the battle is going on, and it's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Missouri today, it's Roe v. Wade next. Federally? What?
The Guttmacher Institute reports 1 in 4 American women has an abortion before they're 45, and polls show about 70% of Americans don't want Roe v. Wade overturned. So far this year, more than a dozen states have restricted or attempted to restrict access to abortion, and it's possible more are on the way. Legislators in Missouri are currently considering a bill which would ban abortion at 8 weeks.
Yeah, and that passed, and so it is... Here's what they're trying to do. If you go and look at this, what they're trying to do is they're trying to, this is the battle. When is that life? Because that's the battle in all of this, isn't it? It's the debate over life. When is it life? And I think what they want is, and when I read these bills, what they're looking for is they're looking for a court, essentially, to establish this is life. Not lawmakers, not scientists, because like everything else, you're going to get political biases in there. You're going to get people that are going to have they're going to have different views as far as they're concerned, not based on politics, based on their science or whatever it is. So they want, hey, well, let's have a court figure it out. We'll have a court decide at some point in time. We'll put these things in place to the point where we can have a court decide at some point in time where, hey, you know what? After 12 weeks, after 6 weeks, it's the heartbeat. If it's a heart, they're going to try to figure out when exactly it is life. And that's what they want. So they're going to continue to push on this and push on this. And you're going to find more and more of them doing as much as they possibly can to overturn, hopefully, Roe v. Wade. Is that possible? I don't think, and I may be wrong here, I don't think that they want to get into that. I think what they want is to let the states handle what the states do. Did I think Alabama went too far? I'm going to say this, guys, and I don't say this often, but I agree here with Pat Robertson.
I think Alabama has gone too far. They've passed a law that would give a 99-year prison sentence to people who could commit abortion. There's no exception for rape or incest. It's an extreme law, and they want to challenge Roe versus Wade. But my humble view is that this is not the case we want to bring to the Supreme Court, because I think this one will lose.
Yeah, I think it will too. But I don't even think it will make it to the Supreme Court. I don't. I think what it'll do is it'll lose in the lower courts. They'll try to get to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will say, you know what? We're pushing it back down to whatever the lower court ruling was, and that's what we'll go with. And remember, we're heading into an election in 2020. Many of these laws won't get on the books till 2020, if they ever get on the books, because they're going to be challenged, and these things are going to prolong. And by the time 2020 rolls around, what's going to end up happening? We may see a completely change of many of these state legislators across the board. So the chances of these things getting there may be slim to none, but it only takes one to get there. And there's this question about, could it be overturned? Well, anything can happen.
There's a very good chance, if this makes it to the Supreme Court, that Roe v. Wade will be overturned, because we have known since the 70s that Roe v. Wade stands on a weak foundational basis. Whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, Roe v. Wade is really about, do we have an individual fundamental, do women have a privacy right in the Constitution that overrides state legislatures' abilities to make laws affecting abortion? And the bottom line is that even if you are pro-choice, the right to privacy does not exist either in the history or the text of the Constitution, which is why Roe has always been ripe to be overturned.
And I think what they're, it only takes one to get through. You've heard Kavanaugh and Gorsuch say, look, it's settled law. I don't want to go back and relitigate this. We don't want to go back and do this anymore. We don't want to go back and look at it again. It's settled. Are they going to bring it to him in a different fashion? It is possible, but I think what they want to do is let states handle their business. But I think what a lot of these states want to do, and a lot of these people, and I've talked to several pro-life organizations, what they want essentially and what they're hoping for is some sort of ruling from somebody that says, okay, here is a defined line. and we'll go from there. When does this fetus, this baby, this thing, this human being, this whatever, when does it have its constitutional rights? That's the thing that I think a lot of people are hoping, that they want some sort of settlement there. And that's what a lot of these bills are going for, in the hope that, hey, you know what? 6 weeks, no. 10 weeks, yes. Makes it easier. That'll calm down a lot of people out there. It's not gonna make everybody happy, but nothing ever does. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Nancy Pelosi's out because today is the day that, of course, Trump saunters out to the Rose Garden and delivers he's delivering his non-bill want Jared Kushner immigration thing. But she said something about, the whole thing that this thing is built on, which is the merit thing. And she said this, and I thought to myself, I don't know. I don't think you understand that word.
I want to just say something about the word that they use, merit. It is really a condescending word. Are they saying family is without merit? Are they saying most of the people who have ever come to the United States in the history of our country are without merit because they don't have an engineering degree?
Yeah. They're not saying family. They're not saying you can't bring your family. In the 6 things that Trump outlined, it is family is husband, wife, kids. Those are who they would like to see. You can't bring aunt, uncle, brother, sister, their kids, niece, nephew, third cousin removed twice. You cannot do. That's not what this is about. Right? And merit, yeah, there is a merit-based situation where we want the best and the brightest. Why is it so bad to want the best and the brightest? I don't get that. It is frustrating. But the most frustrating thing out of all of this, it's solvable. 30 plus years since we've had a bipartisan anything when it comes to immigration. And it isn't going to get done anytime soon. And unlike, and somebody asked me, well, what would it take to get something done bipartisan wise? I said, the only way this ever happens is luck. You have to be able to vote the certain people out and certain people in, and there has to be a perfect storm, almost like a puzzle coming together that happens to be at the right time. And that seems to be the only way politics is done now, where you have a finite opportunity to get something done because eventually the makeup is going to change so fast that it's going to go right back into, boom, just a loggerhead and nothing gets done. And that's the only way something gets done. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Car Shield, kids. Car Shield. I've not used my Car Shield yet, but I've had several people who have, family members and whatnot. Let me tell you something. They all are really happy they have Car Shield. All they did was pay a small deductible. They got to take it to the dealership. They wanted. 2 of my friends took it to the dealership, and they got a rental car, one for 3, one for 5 days for free. They didn't pay for any of that. And one of them had the car towed there because they got 24/7 roadside assistance, all because of Car Shield. Covered repairs. They paid a small little deductible, and away they went. You can choose. Pick and choose what you want and what you need to cover in your car. Cover repairs have never been so easy, and that's what Car Shield is all about. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car is being fixed. And again, the great thing about choosing the shop you take your car to is amazing. You take it to wherever you want to take it. You want to take it to your dealership down the street that you bought your car from, or you want to take it to the place that you've had your car worked at for years. They get them paid directly. It's incredible. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection like I did. Call 800-CAR-6000. It's a new number, 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson, saves you 10%. Or you can visit carshield.com, carshield.com, see all the plans they have. Use my code Benson, saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
Pirates threaten the open seas, and the same is possible in space. In this same way, I believe we too must now recognize the necessity of a space force to defend the nation and to protect space commerce and civil space exploration.
That's Ted Cruz. Line 10. Space Force? I still want to be in Space Force. I'm telling you, the patch. I'm still trying to think of the patch. I'm thinking about two rockets, like crisscrossing, and then, like, maybe a skull. Right? I don't know. Something, though. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good look. And now we've got to worry about space pirates. There was a movie called Space Pirates, wasn't there? Was there an awful movie called Space Pirates? I think there was. Yes, that's right. There was a movie called Space Pirates. Oh, wow. Man, Ted's way ahead of the game. Man, Space Force is going to be good. You probably get great benefits. I'm just letting you guys know. The retirement's going to be awesome. And then I saw the Bezos says there's going to be 1 trillion people in space, which is pretty. You're going to need a really, really big Space Force to stop those 1 trillion people from just floating around everywhere.
We better start congestion pricing now.
Space Force. He said that out loud. Do you think when he got into politics, he's like, I really can't wait to talk about Space Force? What's the most absurd thing you talk about? Space Force. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson. Shoo is your Twitter.
If it seems like you're getting more robocalls or those unwanted spam calls, it's because you likely are receiving more. The volume of calls has nearly doubled in the past 2 years for robocalls, from 2.7 billion a month in 2017, according to Call Blocker UMail, to more than 5 billion a month. The Federal Communications Commission will take up a vote in June on whether to expand current rules for wireless companies to block spam calls by default. Congress could also take up legislation to allow phone companies to identify phone numbers of robocalls, and wireless companies are also working on ways to give customers more options.
But think about this. What happens when you identify a number that's calling you that happens to be the number that you currently occupy? That'll be weird. But big companies are behind this, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Plus, with the election coming up, you're going to get hit with 1,000 more calls and text as well. So be prepared. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We got a Twitter poll up. We'll touch on that. Immigration, the president speaks. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Democrats are proposing open borders, lower wages, and, frankly, lawless chaos. We are proposing an immigration plan that puts the jobs, wages, and safety of American workers first.
Oh, Trump speaking on immigration today. He just sounds... can we just all admit this, whether you like Trump or not? He's awful at reading. Let's just pause this for a second. Listen to this. All right. So listen to this right here is a perfect example of he's not into it.
We're already building the wall, and we should have close to 400 miles built by the end of next year, and probably even more than that. It's going up very rapidly.
There's nothing exciting about that. But when you throw in,
we want these exceptional students and workers to stay and flourish and thrive in America.
Sounds so much more exciting. Let's be real. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, he comes out today and he starts doing his speech, and behind him is a mariachi band. This is the worst person ever, Chad. The thing that he did today was lay out something that was a wish list that will never, ever happen, because nobody's interested in solving a problem at all. Nobody at all is interested in solving a problem because there's too much money to be made. They're not really going to do anything. They're going to talk about it. And what you're trying to do is sell the American people to bring the people in that you want so you'll have a chance. This is how it works now in government. To get anything real, anything meaty, anything substantial through that actually has an impact on a federal level, nationwide, local government is so much more important and it's so much more impactful in your life, in my life, than federal government. But to get anything big, tax cuts, Obamacare, you need the perfect storm. The alignment of the stars, the moons, right? Everything to go perfectly right, meaning you have to have the presidency. You have to have the House, the Senate, and everything in such a way, and it happens so very rarely. It's like Halley's Comet is what you need. Otherwise, it's just never going to happen. Tomorrow, the House is going to vote on an equality bill. What does it mean? Nothing. It'll die in the Senate. They'll never look at it. The Senate will do some stuff, and guess what happens? Nothing. It's a waste. Now, there are smaller things to get through because nobody cares. There's no issues in it that are like robocalls. Everybody hates robocalls. There's nobody who's a liberal going, you stopping robocalls from happening is taking away my right to choose robocalls. Right? Nobody's saying that, right? Nobody's saying you stopping robocalls is socialism. No, it's stupid. Nobody likes the robocalls. Right? So there's nothing there. So that you might get something done on that. But the reality is to get things through, to get anything through, to get stuff really addressed in a way that needs to be addressed, you've got to have the stars, the moon, the earth all line up correctly. And you get one shot at it. And so you choose, am I going to do taxes? They tried Obamacare. They had everything, and they tried to repeal Obamacare, but they didn't have it all. Like the stars were just off a smidge. They didn't have that 60 votes. And that's the way it's going to be. We're at that point now, and some of that's on us because we want 100% of nothing rather than 70% of something. So nobody's willing to bend. Whether it's immigration, right? Which is huge. Whether it's health care, it doesn't matter what it is that really would have an effect. It does not matter because anything that big, you have to have everything perfect or it'll never work. And that should be frustrating to every single one of us. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So check this out. The SATs are getting ready to do something because, we've had the big craziness. For the last several years, they're trying to find a way to make schools more inclusive, more diverse, even though they're pretty damn diverse and they're pretty inclusive and in many ways exclusive, because if you have a different thought process to people inside of the college campuses, i.e., if you have somewhat of a libertarian or conservative, you usually just walk around, keep your head down and keep your mouth shut kind of things. But they're trying to figure out even more. How can they make it more inclusive, more of an opening, welcoming thing? How they can bring more kids on campus? Because the rich, after this whole varsity blues thing, college scandal, they're on campus and we see all the stuff and the SATs. So they're trying to do some new things here with the SATs. Ooh.
Admissions officers are excited because they're not looking just for the usual suspects, those students who have long done well in these exams. They're also looking for those students who may not do quite as well or do as well, but have overcome enormous adversity in doing so.
Yes. And what are they doing? Well, they're going to add something new. It's an adversity score. And they've tinkered around with it. And it's calculated in 15 factors. We'll break some of those down. But essentially what they're saying is look, you can look at the data, right? Here's the data when it comes to SAT. Asians score about 1223 on average. Whites, you crackers, 1123. Hispanics, 990. Black, 946. Overall average, just under 1100. And so they're trying to figure out how can we make this, how can we add some things to it? Because that's something that they want to do. They want to try, they're trying to make it. And my thing is, You are the admissions. It's your school. It's like, could you imagine if you owned a club? And you're like, God, I wish more people would come in my club. And we got a line out there of all kinds of people, but I want more people in my club. You can let anybody in you want. Nah, I want some more people in my club. It's your club. If you want to let them in, let them in.
It's looking at the resourcefulness of students. For those who less is given, do they do more with it?
Oh, I see. So what are some of the factors in this? The adversity index. All right, so here's some of the tools. Neighborhood environment will be part of this. So you got crime rate, poverty rate, housing values, and vacancy rate. Family environment, medium income. Are you single parent to a child? Is it only mom, dad? Is it grandma raising you? Your education of your parent, and ESL for English is a second language. So is it your second language? All right. So there you go. This is the adversity score. Some of the other stuff they're going to look at is your high school environment. It's free lunch rate, AP opportunities, your curriculum and the rigor of that, undermatching, things of this nature. And then they start to put it all together. The weird thing is it's kind of like, we're not quite sure what the scores are, and they're not letting anybody see the scores, which is weird. So last year was, I guess, in 15 campuses they used this or tried to match this up. This year coming up, it is going to be in 150 schools potentially, and next year they'd like to roll it out across the board. And again, it's a weird thing because they're not really telling people, okay, well, this is why you got in, or this is some of the things that you're doing.
Adversity is rather common and widespread and evident. But what can't be seen easily is those students who, in the face of that adversity, accomplish enormous things.
Oh, that's right. That's the guy that's like the head of the admissions, if you will. Dan Coleman is his name right there. So here's the score gap when it talks about things that include money. So people who have an income of more than $200,000, the average score is about 1230. Less than 20 grand, it's about 970, right? So obviously, people who have a lot of money probably put a little bit more. I'm going to say it. In many cases, they do. They put a premium on education, and they'll help their kids in other ways. That's the reality. By education level, so what does mom and dad have? Graduate degree, about $1,200, right? Bachelor's degree, about $1,129. Associate's degree, about $1,039. High school diploma, about $1,000. No diploma, $944. By race, we've already talked about. So they're trying to come up with these things. It's your school, right? And I think that you should look at kids. And I see this a lot with the kids. Like when I coach my little brother in soccer who's got special needs, I see all these kids that come out and they volunteer. And a lot of times it's not because, not that they don't get something out of it. Some of them don't, but they eventually do. But the sad thing is the only reason they're there is because they'll tell you, oh, it looks good on my college application. Like, you got to have a hobby. You got to have this. You got to have that. There are certain things because everybody at certain levels is at that 4.2, 4.4, and you got to have a hobby. You got to have something else that makes you stand out. And that's where administrators need to come in and be a little bit more creative. Talk to people. Say, this guy's got a 3.3, scored 1,100, but he's doing a lot of cool things. She's doing a lot of stuff. She also works full time. She's, you know what? She might be interesting. She might be a good fit for our school and where we're trying to go. That's crazy, though. But so now we're going to have an adversity thing, but nobody's allowed to see it. Adversity. Nobody's allowed to see it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from each and every one of you kids. You guys make me smile. You do. You make me smile. I'm not going to lie to you. Peter Buttigieg, they're letting him, he's out speaking. It's very interesting because today he was talking about, he got to talk about a lot of different things. And it was interesting because he weighed in on Iran. And it was very, it's just interesting because you're like, okay, I know you're running for president. I get it, right? Like, I'm all cool that you're running for president. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is kind of odd when you think about it, because in some ways it's because you're the mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
This is not a game. It is not a show. And we had better make sure that the security decisions made by the president are based not on domestic politics, but on what is the right thing for this nation, and particularly those who have agreed to defend it with their lives.
So, and look, and he sounds good. You know who doesn't sound good? Beto. But I looked at the new, was it Quinnipiac poll, Quinnipiac, whatever, I always screwed up. Biden has 29%. Bernie's hit that 15 to 18% plateau, and he's just, that's it. He's just stuck right there. But it showed Beto had 12. And after him being on The View, he should have a negative 12. If you didn't watch it, Google it. You thought, wow, that guy's neutered. There is no way. Buttigieg sounds very, he gets it because he's been to those places and he's weighing in on it. And I think he really needs to do that to really broaden it. He can't just be all about local government only, American United States policy in the United States. He's got to really broaden himself because a lot of these other people, they've got a higher profile, and he's going to really need to spread that out. And that's some of the stuff that I think could separate him, especially when it comes to military, because he did serve. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet us. And by the way, this is one thing. If he gets to the final stage with Trump, that serve thing that is going to be big. That is. Absolutely. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Right? I mean, it's just, I got to be honest with you, that'll be tough for Trump as much as he pokes fun and he labels people, Buttigieg, as much as he does that. When it comes to that serving thing, that's where Trump will have a tough time. 323-538-2423. Check it out. We got a poll about merit-based immigration. What do you think? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. Getting a good night's rest is vitally important. I love my MyPillow stuff. I got tons of it. MyPillow is incredible, and they've got sheets, Giza sheets. Giza, mate, Giza. They're cotton sheets. This cotton's grown in a small area in the Mediterranean. It's absolutely incredible. You're going to feel the difference. Super durable sheet. Deep pockets are going to fit on anything. And I'll tell you what, they're 100% machine washable and dryable. And when you wash them and you go put them back on your bed, you know what happens? They fit again, which drives me crazy. When you buy stuff, you wash them and you're like, they don't fit anymore. They will fit, and you'll feel the difference. It is quality sheets like nothing else and so affordable. Get your Giza cotton sheets today. Call 800-983-4975 or go to mypillow.com. When you do, use promo code Benson. That's promo code Benson. mypillow.com, mypillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
You know there's nothing I would not do.
Oh, little Beyonce. So about 4 years ago, Beyonce, B, I call her B. You can call her what you want. I call her, she's my bae. She's not really my bae. I think is that your girlfriend or your boyfriend? Your bae? She did a concert. Private concert, corporate. That's the way it works. Uber said, hey, would you come do a concert for us? And she's like, I would. What's it cost? She goes, corporate night, $6 million. I said, we'll pay it. She says, on second thought, why don't you give me some stock? They said, sounds great. I mean, we're a few years away from going public. Who knows what's going to happen? It's if we don't ever go public and we struggle and eventually get taken over, it doesn't really mean anything. You'll have a little bit of stock, right? And if not, who knows? No big deal. Flash forward 4 years, May 10th, she goes, hey, look at this. I've got stock from them. They've gone public. Let's see how much that was worth. I could have got $6 million. Oh, my stock's worth $300 million. That's a win, kid. That's a win. That's the beauty of having forward thought in things. I've had friends who've gone to Silicon Valley, and have done stuff for people and saying, you know what, rather than pay us, why don't you give us a little stock in companies? And you'd be surprised how many stars and people have done that. And the money is smart and it's big. And if you had talent or I had talent like hers, we'd get that opportunity. But nobody's paying you or I $6 million or giving us stock to do anything.
The Rolling Stones are going back on the road, announcing new dates for their tour, which was rescheduled after frontman Mick Jagger had heart surgery last month. Now the No Filter tour will start June 21st in Chicago, which was one of the original dates anyway, and it'll wrap up August 31st in Miami Gardens, Florida.
So yesterday I posted, if you haven't seen it, check it out, at Chad Benson Show on the old Twitter there. Mick Jagger is 75 years old. He had heart surgery last month. He is dancing around like he's 20 years old, and it is amazing to see. It really is. But out on the road they're going, and I continue to say it. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. It's witchcraft. That's the only thing you could say. It's magic. Maybe the dark arts. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. What do you think about a merit-based system for immigration? Text the program. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. Check out the Chad Benson Show.com. Grab yourself your podcast. There it is. The Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I want to just say something about the word that they use, merit. It is really a condescending word. Are they saying family is without merit? Are they saying most of the people who have ever come to the United States in the history of our country are without merit because they don't have an engineering degree?
Nancy Pelosi. And by the way, Nancy, some of the family is without merit. Right? Like your third cousin twice removed that you kind of know doesn't need to come to the country because you're here. Right? Because Trump goes out on the White House lawn today and delivers it's just an awful speech. Let's be real. He's just not good at speeches. He's just not. Like when he's in front of a crowd and he's rocking it and he's freewheeling, it's great. When it's a speech, and he's got to read it, he struggles with it. I got to be honest. So he goes out there today, and yeah, he's got a new system and a new way that he wants to do things. By the way, none of it is ever going to get anywhere near his desk to sign. Today was a wish list of stuff. Let me tell you what I want Congress Claus to bring me for Congress Christmas. This. But it's not going to happen. It's not. None of it is. Right? It just isn't going to happen. And he talked about a lot of different things.
The system will finally be fair, transparent, and promote equality and opportunity for all.
Yeah, and he wants to change the way that we do things now. He laid out 6 things, and one of them is, and we touched on it yesterday, we're going to touch on it again today, and people are going to, I've got people arguing about it. Well, just like what Nancy said, well, it's not fair if your mom and dad can't come. Oh, my God. No, it should be your husband, your wife, your kids, right? This is the way I look at it, right? Right. This is if you live in, let's just say you live in Mexico City, right? So you live in Mexico City and you're going to move to Monterrey. Does your mom and dad come with you? Do your cousins and brothers come with you, or do you go because you got a job there and you're going to take your wife and your kids? Well, I mean, come on. Stop being silly, right? It's crazy that we do this. We allow somebody to come here and then it's like, okay, everybody can come now. And that's just silly. He wants to change that. He wants to make it more of a merit-based system, which is interesting, but it'll never work. But I like that. You know, she's like, well, are you better than a person without an engineering degree? I don't know. Do we need lots of engineers? I think so. Can we fill these jobs? What about IT people? Because last time I checked, there's so many jobs available, in particular for things like security with IT. They can't fill those jobs. So yes, that does make you more valuable. We're not saying you're less of a human being. But in this particular thing, we're giving out 1.1 million green cards. In this particular situation that we're talking about, yes, it does. It does. Because we're at the point in our history now where, I'm going to say this, we can be a little bit picky. Do you know what I mean? We don't have to take everybody. We can be a little bit more picky. Yeah, that's a good word, right? We're not we can pick and choose how we want. We're not at the point where it's like there was a time when we needed to fill a lot of things and we welcomed with open arms everybody. But here's the difference. And this is something I tried to explain to somebody today. Difference between long gone, days of yore, bring us your hello masses. You're tired. You're super sleepy. You're weak. You're tall. You're skinny. You're fat. And we're all going to meet at Ellis Island. Difference between then and now is people back then, they came to America with hope in their eyes and a want to be part of what America was. We don't have that. We have a lot of people who come here because they want what America can offer them. They don't want part of America. And that's one of the things he wants to put and shine a light on. And I think, you know what? I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I've always said, I want to find out who's here for a booty call. You're here because you want to work. You don't want to be an American. You don't want to love apple pie and baseball, baby. And that's okay. I got no problem with that. You want to go back to Honduras? You want to go back to wherever it is that you came from? No problem with that. You're here for a booty call. You don't want to put a ring on. No problem with that. But I want to know that. And there are people that come here who desperately seek what America is about, and they want to be American. And that, to me, is great. Bring me those. I got no problem with that. That right there is fine. But we also are at a point where we can pick and choose the ones that, you know what, this person here is coming, and his degree and what his skill set, what her skill set is perfect because we're lacking in a certain area right now, and we need to fill these jobs, and there's not enough Americans to do that. So, yes, we can be. That's just mean, Chad. Stop being honest. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. Right? But none of this stuff is going to happen. Graham's not getting his little bill through. Trump's wish list with Kushner there is never happening because we're not in a position to get anything actually done. It's just not going to happen. The stars, the moon, the sun all have to align in such a certain way. Just like legislative, judicial, executive have to align in a certain way. We have to have something nowadays that has to have a rubber stamp all the way through because you've aligned it in such a way that the Congress is set up that it's going to go right from the House to the Senate. It's all going to be voted on. You got everything on your side right up to the president. And you know what? He's going to sign it or she's going to sign it. And then even if it gets challenged in the courts, it doesn't matter because you've got the court system in your way and it's going to win. That's the only way things get done nowadays. It has to be perfect, and there's very few opportunities for a perfect storm. And when it comes, it leaves really quick because usually Americans see this as an overreach because it ends up being, they just got it by because it's completely partisan that this group on the right only voted for it or this group on the left only voted for it, and then we're going to make you pay at the ballot box. So you got one chance to get it done. Just one. And it's taxes, it's Obamacare, it's something, it's just what you got, one chance. And then it goes away. That's why it's tough to do things. Because you have to be absolutely perfect. Even a smidge off, see, repeal and replace of Obamacare. Even a smidge off, nothing happens. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Here's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. By the way, for those of you not keeping score, there's this country called Iran, and right now with Iran and us, we got a little bit of it. It's a little awkward. Just pointing out, it's a little awkward some of the stuff that's going on. There's some pictures out there of them taking cargo ships and some other things. Looks like they're moving some missiles. You got people battling back and forth. You got some people that are maybe don't have the best interest of America. The likes of John Bolton and a few others that people are looking at saying, and it's interesting to see what's happening here because some of his advisors, he's pushing back on it, and I think we need some of that.
For example, the Shia militia in Iraq, which are not fully under control of the Iraqi government or at all. They're partially affiliated with Iran, but are they really under control? Let's say a group of people from the Shia militia attack Americans. Is that an Iranian attack, or is that something that could trigger an escalation by us versus Iran, and then suddenly we're on the ladder? That's what's worrying me, and that's why I think the president is absolutely right, according to the reporting that we've heard this morning, to slow this thing down and express a little restraint on some of his advisors who seem to be getting us into a position where something pretty awful could happen.
Yeah, and he's apparently telling everybody, slow it down, which is what we need. We need to slow down. We need a pause break because we're not quite sure. Feels like they're saying, hey, you guys, I want to fight those guys. And then we're thinking, do we want to fight those guys? Because I heard they wanted to fight us. And they're like, well, wait a minute. We heard that you wanted to fight us. And Iran has got a lot of issues. It's not just us, by the way. Because as much as we have an issue, not with the Iranian people, but with the mullahs and the higher ups and the Ayatollah and stuff, and where we have got an issue is the Europeans are having trouble because they already want to back out of the deal because they're mad at us because we backed out of a deal that really wasn't a good deal. I mean, if you're honest with yourself, it was not a good deal. They wanted a deal done. And there's a perfect example of if they had to vote on the deal, it would never have gotten done. Right? But so they're having some issues. Then you go over and you look at Saudi Arabia that's like, hey, guess what? Our tankers were attacked and we think it's you because everybody's saying it's you and our evidence says it's you. You've got what's happening and what was happening in the last couple of weeks with Israel and Hezbollah and stuff being fired over, right? You know, and guess who? These are all these de facto weird things that we know that the largest state sponsor of terror. And so there are other countries pointing fingers saying something, you know, they're up to something. They're up to something. What is that something? Not quite sure yet, but they're up to it. And Saudi Arabia, in their biggest newspaper today, said, you know what? We need to attack. We need to attack. Which is, I mean, that's some scary stuff there. And if that happens, talk about, wow, that get ugly fast. Talk about a destabilization, because if they were to attack Saudi Arabia, they get pushback immediately. But Saudi Arabia, the first thing Iran would do after that is what? They'd attack Israel. And then it would just be just a nightmare. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think calmer, cooler heads, Mike Pompeo in particular, talking to the Pooter the other day, I think they'll calm some stuff down. But it has the potential. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Oh, man. Tell you what, guys, I just want to talk about food for a second, right? Because we eat a lot of food and understand health is important.
The study by the National Institutes of Health defines heavily processed foods as items with ingredients predominantly found in industrial food manufacturing, like hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, and flavoring agents. Researchers watched two groups of people for 2 weeks. One group ate ultra-processed meals. The other group ate minimally processed food. The meals had identical amounts of calories and other nutrients, but people in the ultra-processed group ate more of those meals and gained about 2 pounds. The unprocessed group ate less and lost about 2 pounds.
It's hard to look at like processed stuff when you talk about things like that, because I like food and I'm sure I eat way too much processed. I think we all do because it's just convenient. But were these people who already don't eat processed food? Or were these people, you know what I mean? It's like, well, because chances are if you're not eating processed food, you're probably living a healthier lifestyle, which means you're probably working out more. Or is it that we just grabbed a bunch of regular people? We don't know what they did. They could smoke, they could drink, they could do all kinds of things. But processed food, I've noticed if you take a step back and you actually probably ate for a week or two and kept everything that you had, like all of the wrappers, all of the boxes and everything, and you laid it on the table, I bet all of us would go, oh, God, what are we doing? What are we doing? We got to do better. But, man, sometimes processed food is just, I got to be honest. Like macaroni and cheese is a perfect example of Kraft macaroni. There was nothing better in the world than Kraft macaroni and cheese. I like my homemade. Nope, sorry. It's not as good. And it's processed. And I get it. And the cheese isn't real. And I get it. But it tastes delicious. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Guys, we're terrible at taking care of ourselves. We know that. So much so right now, I've got a little pinched nerve. I know I need to go to the chiropractor. And I keep thinking, well, if I stretch a little bit, if I do, it's been like 3 weeks like this. It's driving me crazy. And I'm just not doing it the thing I should about it. Well, same thing is with ED, erectile dysfunction. We just don't, right? We just don't. For several reasons. Ego, time, we make excuses, doesn't happen that much. We're just not going to get it checked out. Don't be silly. There's a great way, thanks to Roman, to get checked for ED online. Simple. Roman is a one-stop shop. One stop. Licensed U.S. physicians. They can diagnose ED and ship medication right to your door. Unmarked packaging. It's simple. It's easy. It's discreet. They're just going to treat you great. You don't have to worry about an awkward face-to-face. You don't have to worry about sitting in a waiting room and just uncomfortable trips to the pharmacy. They take care of everything. And right now you can get a free online visit. You go to GetRoman.com/Benson. You complete a dynamic online visit. You chat with a real doctor, and then they'll ask you, and they'll diagnose you. Hey, do you? Yeah, you know what? Then we're going to get you real medicine and deliver it right to your door. Discreet, unmarked packaging. Do it now. Free online visit. Go to GetRoman.com/Benson. That's GetRoman.com/Benson. GetRoman.com/Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
The Missouri Senate has approved a bill to ban abortions at 8 weeks of pregnancy. It still needs the approval of Missouri's Republican-led House by Friday. Governor Mike Parson, also a Republican, has said he supports the measure, calling it a chance to be one of the strongest pro-life states in the country. If passed, the abortion ban would include exceptions for medical emergencies, but not for pregnancies caused by rape or incest. Doctors performing abortions after 8 weeks of pregnancy would face 5 to 15 years behind bars. The woman would not be prosecuted.
Yeah, and it is, they're going to go at it when it comes to abortion. You got Missouri, you got Alabama, you've got Georgia. They're all trying to see what they can do, staying in the lane that each one of them is doing something a little bit different. 8 weeks, essentially from the beginning, no abortion whatsoever, and minus, the woman being in peril and her life being in peril. And they're going to be challenged. You know this. And think, again, 2020 is not too far away, right? The first Democratic debate is next month. These things, if become law, are going to become a law immediate. 2020 is when they're going to become law. And by then, the court challenges will be in. From the court challenges that are going to be filed, they'll probably be upheld in court. So that means there'll be a longer delay. There'll be several more challenges throughout the time. It may go up to the Supreme Court. It may not. And I think what they're looking to do are several things. By the way, Tommy Lauren, Pat Robertson have all come out and said these things are going too far. And a lot of what they're looking to do is they want some judge somewhere, hopefully they think it gets to the Supreme Court, and those justices define for them when life starts. Because the battle in the science world is going to be different. They want law of it starts at heartbeat. It starts at conception. It starts, as far as we're concerned, when the baby's born. That's what they're looking for. Because they want to be able to say, now, this child, this fetus, this zygote has a constitutional right to be alive. They have their rights starting here. It's going to be a tough battle. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Interesting stuff. A lot of stuff. Man, we are cramming it in today, kids. It's Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We've all heard that New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft was caught in a sex trafficking sting.
They were women who were from China, who were forced into sex slavery.
We're told it happens all the time.
Thousands of children are raped every day.
Sex trafficking, a growing problem.
But that's not true, says reporter Elizabeth Nolan Brown. In Robert Kraft's case,
they had all of these big announcements at first saying that they had busted up an international sex trafficking ring, that these women were being forced there and they weren't allowed to leave.
Yeah. Here's my take on prostitution. As we battle this thing that's going on right now in Alabama, Georgia, Missouri, when it comes to, choice in life, I tell everybody all the time, the government tells you what you can't do with your body all the time. Prostitution's a perfect example. If you're a 20-something year-old man not hurting anybody and you want to sell your body, you should be able to. If you're a 20-something-year-old woman and you want to sell your body and nobody's forcing you to do it, you should be able to. But Chad, all about these sex trafficking everywhere, much like everything else. Take the words that you see on a piece of paper and the things that you read data-wise, do a little bit of research, and you'll find out that a lot of times all it is scare tactics.
This is not about lonely old men or victimless crimes. This is about enabling a network of criminals to traffic women into our country for forced labor and sex.
But now prosecutors concede there was no sex trafficking, and that's typical.
I'd say 99% of the headlines are not true. Sex trafficking and prostitution are just sort of used interchangeably.
Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I think we all know it does happen. I mean, come on, we're stupid. But it's to what extent? And we see these things where they break up a sex trafficking ring. But there's a lot of times, I mean, come on. It's like, so wait a minute here. If you want to film somebody having sex and you're going to pay them to do that, and you're going to call it an adult film, that's okay. But if they just were going to come over and you were going to pay them without the film, and it wasn't going to be an adult film, it was just going to be a transaction, somehow that's a crime?
Police routinely claim they rescue women.
They say we rescued these women, and by rescue, they put them in jail and give them a criminal record. The victims are the sex workers themselves who are getting harassed and, locked up in cages by the cops.
Agents arresting at least 14 suspects.
Being arrested doesn't help you.
These women chose to be sex workers.
I wasn't coerced. It was something that I actively wanted to do.
But the cops call it sex trafficking. You were trafficked.
They call a lot of things trafficking, the drug trafficking, the immigration trafficking.
Yeah, they do. But there's a reason for that. Because like everything else, it's a scare tactic, right? Because that's in this day and age, and you have to say things that are outrageous to get anybody to notice you, to get anybody to pay attention. And you can pull numbers out of your ass, say, look at these numbers. And rarely can you dispute those numbers in a way that's real, because you could say, I found these numbers here, I did this, that, and the other, unless you do real research, which a majority of people aren't going to do. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So you can just say it, and then the news and everybody else will run with it. And you're like, oh, but this is one of the questions I asked the minute that they busted Bob Kraft.
Is the fastest growing illegal business in the world.
If that was the case, cops would be able to find this all the time. Cops wouldn't be having to go to doing these elaborate stings.
Florida police spent months taking down the Robert Kraft spa.
They had Homeland Security involved. They were following these women around to grocery stores, watching them buy condoms. They were going through their trash and analyzing their trash. If this was really a situation where these women were being forced and sexually assaulted multiple times a day, the cops just let it happen for months on end?
That was my question. If this was such a horrific thing. Well, Chad, we had to gather evidence. 6 months? Right? 6 months? If this was that thing, we're like, oh, and I'll say, it does happen, but to the extent that people say it does, because remember, these are also government agencies, and government agencies need to make sure that you know that all of these bad things are happening because what don't they want to happen? To think that things are good because then the money dries up and they like dollars.
The women apparently were willing.
We wanted to rescue them out of that horrible life.
They're on a moral crusade. They're doing the right thing.
But all they did was actually go in there, bust up their place of business, close it down, and then let the women go.
The cops are not cruel. They, I assume, want to do the right thing.
Cops like working these kind of cases, I think.
They bring the police good publicity.
A major sex trafficking ring busted.
And also,
you have a lot of federal money coming at this.
Yeah. Dollar bills, yo. Dollar bills. Now, like everything, whether it's immigration, right? Whether it's the drug war or whatever, who doesn't want to know what it really looks like numbers-wise? Because in so many ways, you can, just like with polls, you can take a poll, but what does that poll really represent? You're not asking everybody. You're asking a certain amount of people and then trying to say, okay, well, we're going to blanket this out. You can only get a guesstimation, and God, you just don't know. Could be far worse than I'm saying. Could be far less.
Trafficking is a real problem in every state in the United States of America. Right now, almost 300,000 American children are at risk.
Not just at risk, says this former prosecutor.
300,000 kids a year are raped, sex trafficked, and pimped in this country.
That 300,000 number was disavowed.
The lead author of the study, Richard Estes, now disavows it. The National Crimes Against Children Center says do not cite this study. And so many people debunk the study and say this is just a total bullcrap number.
But it doesn't matter because much like the 97% of scientists, it's settled science kind of things. All you need is to get into to get out there into the news cycle enough that it eventually becomes the thing that everybody talks about. And I look at this as well, Chad, it's not a harmless crime. It's not a victimless crime, but in a lot of ways it is because we make people criminals. They're really not criminals. If you're an adult and you're not hurting anybody, if you're at home and you're having a drink, you're at a bar, you're having a drink, you're in your own home doing something like this, we've made it so bizarre that it's these like you can go to Vegas and do it. Right? You can go there. Or just outside of Vegas. Not really Vegas. You can go. It's so weird the way that we do things. And again, if you want to film it, I sit back and I look and I shake my head and I think, when are you going to let us be adults? Yes. Are there places where in time where it got out of hand? I'm sure it did. Where women were trafficked? Absolutely. Are there places in the world where things like that are probably going on now? Yes. Is it here? And once again, the average person, not the extremes, but the average person is adult enough to know the difference.
Actor Ashton Kutcher even promotes an app which he claims rescues sex trafficking victims.
We've identified and recovered over 6,000 trafficking victims this year.
Where is he getting these numbers? Have these exaggerated numbers. It forces people to go into this crazy emergency moral panic mode that ends up not helping the actual problem that we have. They want this imaginary world where if you take away a safer option for these women, then everyone will the oldest profession, as they call it, will magically stop. But that's not going to happen. The way we try to stop that from happening is actually making the problem worse.
Which is what government loves to do, right? Just the road to hell is paved with what? Good intentions. And it happens everywhere. And you see it. You've got, this is the good intentions, but you never think about all the unforeseen circumstances that are going to come out of this and the people that are going to be hurt or not hurt. And just, you look out, and so many times when government gets in the way of so many things and thinking that they're doing the right thing, many times they blow it up. Case in point, right? We not got rid of pirates, but Ted Cruz is worried not just about regular old pirates.
Pirates threaten the open seas. And the same is possible in space. In this same way, I believe we too must now recognize the necessity of a space force to defend the nation and to protect space commerce and civil space exploration.
Space Force. Ted Cruz is going to fight crime no matter where crime is. Whether it's Somali pirates, right, in the Aden Sea that are just out there, just going out there and just snatching up cargo ships, or whether it's cargo spaceships, and Space Force is there to protect you. Space Force. I love you, Ted. Oh, Lion Ted, you make me laugh. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Of course, Trump delivering his Trump likeness when it comes to immigration. Not everybody's thrilled by it.
The president's immigration plan will be received with skepticism. For 2 years, we've tried to work with this president on the issue of immigration, even putting together a bipartisan coalition in the Senate, and the president stopped us from taking actions. As a result of it, the immigration situation at our border is in horrible circumstances at this moment. This president has failed to respond to a clear need, legal and humanitarian.
Wow, Dick Durbin, you're blaming him for the problem at the border? I blame our asylum laws, which were there long before he became president. He's talked about an emergency at the border. You guys said there's nothing going on down there. There's nothing to see here at all. And the bipartisanship, he offered you more than you asked for when it came to DACA, and you guys didn't want that because you don't really want to give him a victory, which is fine. That's politics. That's why I keep saying, when you want to get something done bipartisan, something big, just know that it's rarely ever going to happen. The way that stuff gets done in politics nowadays is the perfect storm. You need to be in a position of power where you have no obstacles from the other side, and then you can ram something through. And usually you get one shot at that, and it's usually got to be that one big thing you want to do. And that's it. Because then the next thing that's going to happen is when the next election comes, you're going to lose some of those seats, and then it's back to stagnation that is politics in today's world. 30 plus years since we've had a bipartisan immigration bill. And I don't care if he offered you all the things you wanted today. You're not going to give him some of the things he wants, and you're not going to get it done, because if there's any chance this could be a victory for him, you won't do it. That's just politics. The other side would do the same damn thing. They did it with Obama. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. ButcherBox, man, it's that time of year. Producer Phil, I do believe you said it's going to be, what, the 80s or 90s this weekend?
Perfect for grilling.
Out there with you? Oh, perfect for grilling. They got the new Ultimate Barbecue Bundle for you right now, and like $20 off your first box. What are you waiting for, kids? The best organic chicken, wild-caught sockeyed salmon in Bristol Bay, Alaska, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and the best pork around. 20 different cuts of meat, better quality, better tasting, more nutrient-dense meat. And guess what? No antibiotics, no hormones ever. You can customize your box. And right now, the Ultimate Barbecue Bundle is ready for you. It's less than $6 a meal. And this is what you get. 2 New York strip steaks, baby back ribs, 2 pounds of ground beef. Boom! $20 off. What? What are you waiting for? Get it today. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. Simple and easy. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Burger King is set to begin delivering food to drivers caught in LA traffic. According to several reports, the direct two-car delivery service will use motorcyclists to make the deliveries. Not sure how they're going to weave in and out of all that. Drivers can order from a Burger King app when they are within a delivery zone, roughly a 1.9-mile radius from the closest Burger King restaurant. The app will function using voice commands. This was tested in Mexico City. Orders there were limited to a Whopper combo meal, including fries and a choice of bottled Pepsi or water. Count me as a skeptic.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think he sounds thrilled by that. Right? Like, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? I'm Millennial Reporter, dude. Burger King's going to be coming to your car, possibly. I don't know. I don't really care, man. I'm not keeping it on fleek. So Burger King may deliver to your car. And I was talking to somebody earlier, and they're like, could this really happen? I said, yeah. I said, if you lane splitting and those kind of things. I said, but it's not about the delivering or whether or not you did it. It's about the experience that you're going to have and share it, which will bring the brand more notoriety than anything else. So it's about the experience. You get a Whopper. Because you think about it, how cool would that be, right? Like, you go back and think about all the places you'd like to have food. And I go back to, like, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and I think, when Jeff Spicoli orders pizza. Well, you're here, and I'm here, Mr. Hahn. So I thought, yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's an experience. It's not going to be a norm, because that's what it's all about. Speaking of experiences and speaking of food... would you like a room with Mexican pizza or a burrito?
Taco Bell is hoping you'll make a run for, well, not the border, but for Palm Springs, California. That's where a hotel is opening this summer that pays homage to the fast food chain. From the room decor to the breakfast menu, even the pool floaties are shaped like hot sauce packets.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
You'll also find Taco Bell snacks, including a few new menu items, plus Taco Bell nail art in the salon. You can place your order, make your reservation starting next month.
Bless you, Taco Bell.
And like some of the restaurant's favorites, the hotel is limited time only 3 nights.
Oh, I would totally go to that. I might do that. That might be something I do. Of all the stupid things that I like, I do something stupid like that. I would. Because it just seems like a lot of fun. All right, let's write that down, people. We're going to try to get that in there. That would be, I would do that. I would absolutely, that's my kind of hotel. And I'm on the road a lot. And I'm thinking, that feels a little bit like something I'd like to do. Speaking of eating weird things, ladies and gentlemen, she's not high maintenance.
Not that high maintenance. Like, I'm very, chill about things like that.
Like
but the other night, they were, feeding us, these 24-karat gold-covered everything. It was just, chicken, and then the sushi was gold-covered, and then the chocolate, and then this. I was like, is it healthy to eat this much gold?
That is Paris Hilton, who is not that high maintenance, as you could hear. She makes $1 million a night being a DJ, spinning what did you say, Phil? The Mac Superbook or whatever you have to do?
Turn it on the Mac.
Turn it on the Mac. Turn on the Casio 5000. All right, go. Apparently, you can eat gold, which was really weird, but she's not high maintenance. She's not. You could just hear it in her. I'm not high maintenance at all. Other night, I was eating gold. You guys eat gold, right? Nobody eats gold, right? Do you eat paste? If I put paste in front of you, would you eat that? That's not very nice. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. We got a Twitter poll today. Why don't you take it? Jump up. Let me know. You can tweet at us. You can text the program as well. With the this whole thought of immigration and a merit-based system, how would you feel about a merit-based system? 68% of you say, yeah, I could get behind that. Right? 9% said nope, and 23% said in some cases. Take the poll at Chad Benson. Check out thechadshow.com. Grab your podcast right there as well. It is The Chad Benson Show.
This is The Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Mr. President, are we going to war with Iran? I hope not. You hope not. What? We're not going to war with Iran? We are going to war with Iran? I'm really confused about that. That was him this morning when somebody screamed, hey, Mr. President, are we going to go to war with Iran? Because people are, while all this other stuff is going on, right? So we've got this storm of chaos in the world of politics and issues that aren't politics in nature, but they're issues. This is something that's not being really paid attention to, that needs to be paid attention to, which is both sides seem to be kind of squaring off here, and it's getting a bit uncomfortable.
There are two issues that are really worrying me. One is who's provoking whom. In other words, we know that Iran is taking actions. We're taking actions. We declared their IRGC as a terrorist organization. That has ramifications for them. We've ratcheted up the sanctions substantially. We've moved major military assets to the Middle East. Are they reacting because they're concerned about what we're doing, or are we reacting because we're concerned what they're doing?
Yeah, like, I heard you were doing something, so I did something. Well, I heard you were doing something, so I did something kind of scenario. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we have gotten some information that we believe to be true, that Iran is starting to push certain buttons. They've already told the likes of the Europeans that, hey, you better figure out what America's doing with these sanctions, or we're going to step away from this thing that we signed with you guys and the Americans, and now they've stepped out of it. So you got 60 days to sort this out. You had the Saudi tankers attacked. A lot of people are pointing fingers at Iran. Saudi Arabia and their largest paper came out today and said, essentially, we need to attack Iran now. And we've got, things that are happening in Palestine and Israel, the battle that's going on there. We know exactly what Iran likes to do, which is to fight these kind of these pseudo wars, right? Where they funnel money and are a big part of certain things, but they try to keep their hands, if you will, their fingerprints far away from it. But we know exactly what's going on. And that's leading us to a situation where we're kind of staring at each other right now.
And that raises my second concern, which is miscalculation. The Guns of August, one of the great books ever written about the origin of World War II, nobody really knew how it started. And it started small and it escalated. And that's what worries me. Miscalculation.
Yeah, well, World War II is a very interesting thing, because before, you had the annexing of Austria and going into the Sudetenland and taking back what the Germans thought was theirs, and then you had Poland, but before that you had Japan and their feudal nature with China and a few other things. So you had a lot of things going on there, but we kind of knew what was going on. We could see it happening, but it was little things. And is that what this is? The thing about Trump, for all the craziness that's going on, right? And Trump, and every other second, Trump is he's a warmonger. He's all these things. Trump is more of an isolationist, not in the sense that he wants us to not have any relationships elsewhere, but he wants to get us out of certain things. You see what he's trying to do in the Middle East. And for all the greatness of Obama, go back and look at his history and see how many de facto miniature wars he's put ourselves into and put us in places where you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think that we did those kind of things. I thought he was the exact opposite. No, he wasn't. And Trump would like to pull us out of areas, and for that I applaud him. But we do have to watch certain areas. We need to have the hawk eye, but we don't need to be hawkish, if you will. And Trump is trying to get some people to say, hey, let's calm the blank down.
For example, the Shia militia in Iraq, which are not fully under control of the Iraqi government or at all. They're partially affiliated with Iran, but are they really under control? Let's say a group of people from the Shia militia attack Americans. Is that an Iranian attack, or is that something that could trigger an escalation by us versus Iran, and then suddenly we're on the ladder? That's what's worrying me, and that's why I think the president is absolutely right, according to the reporting that we've heard this morning, to slow this thing down and express a little restraint on some of his advisors who seem to be getting us into a position where something pretty awful could happen.
It's John Bolton. Let's just put it out there. It's Bolton. It's Bolton. That's it. Mike Pompeo seems to be the person that's got the kind of, hey, you know what? I'm going to be the person here that's going to be the adult in this room, and we need to calm down. Right? That's why he was speaking with Putin, because he knows Putin has their ear. And even Trump said, I'd like to talk to the Iranians. It not the same thing. You talking with the little man and the bad haircut in North Korea is not the same thing. What goes on with the mullahs and Ayatollah, it's not the same thing. But we'll see. We'll see. I think he always thinks he can talk himself in and out of situations, and that remains to be seen. Because in a geopolitical world, it's a much different thing, and Iran's a much different animal than, say, the North Koreans and in particular Kim Jong-un. It's a much different situation. But I don't think we're going to go to war. But I do think that it is getting a little bit uglier than it needs to be at this point in time.
Every single time that we have put forward or anyone else has put forward any type of immigration plan and it's included DACA, it's failed.
Yeah. But because today, he's going to unveil all of his stuff that he's got this plan with 6 different things on its 4-pillar plan. And Jared Kushner really put this thing together. The reality is this is his wish list. It's not his get list. Sarah Huckabee Sanders can spin it how she wants.
It certainly is designed to become law, and we think it should. That's why we put it out, and that's why we've spent a lot of time developing and making sure that this was something that could have buy-in from both sides and actually fix our system that hasn't been upgraded or touched in decades.
3+ decades. No bipartisan immigration has ever been done. And I'm gonna explain this to you pretty simple. To get anything done anymore in politics, there has to be a perfect storm. You have to elect the right people and then oust the people that are up against the things that you want to get done, and have in place, which you will for only a finite amount of time, the right amount of people to get something passed through the House, into the Senate, and then eventually, boom, onto the president. And it doesn't matter which side you're on, right or left, it's the same formula. Little things will get passed here and there, right? When it comes to spending, they'll spend the hand out of all of our money. Those are bipartisan things that we wish they would fight harder against each other. But when it comes to things like this, you need the perfect storm, and you have it for such a small amount of time, because the next time the election comes, usually 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those people that help create and get that thing through, Obamacare, whatever it is, guess what happens? That door closes because those people are out, in come new people, and back to the malaise that is politics and the battle. And that's going to be the same thing. So this thing that he's putting out, where merit-based system, when it comes to your family, as far as coming over here, if you've got a green card to come over here, you can bring your husband or your wife, you can bring your kids, but you can't bring everybody else. It's just, it's a wish list. It's not a real list. It's not. It's not a real list, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Guess what? I know that Biden wanted to be the last one, but then you got some guy from Montana jumping in, and now Comrade.
As president, I will take on the wealthy. I will take on the big corporations. I will not rest until this government serves working people. As mayor of the largest city in America, I've done just that.
Deblasio for president, guys.
Donald Trump must be stopped. I've beaten him before, and I will do it again. I'm Bill Deblasio, and I'm running for president because it's time we put working people first.
Bill Deblasio. He's in. He's absolutely in. Worst kept secret for a long time. I think like a 17-year-old had the scoop, but you kind of knew he was going to get in the race. And to be honest, I don't think he has a chance. I look at everything right now, and I look at Biden, and I look at what he's doing and how he's kind of pulling away. And I think the fear factor is that people want to get rid of Trump so bad that they look at people who are moving further and further and further and further left, and they're saying to themselves, we're going to lose so much of a good majority of that center part of the country that we're going to scare so many people off that Biden, by default, may be the best hope. And I think if you're going to look, I think we're at this point that you got to put it's like when you're drafting somebody in sports, right? And they'll tell you if the person you want is taken, essentially, then what do? You pick the best athlete. Who's the best candidate? And that's the way they're looking at it. Biden may be the best of the things they had. He may have the stuff to look Trump in the eyes, at least. He's been around for a long time. I just don't think at this point in time, I don't foresee anybody that has a chance at this point in time to beat him. And it's very interesting because as much as Mika and Joe can't stand him, and they've talked about how I think he's mentally incompetent, and I think maybe he's got dementia, and they've talked about all these things. I was surprised to hear this.
You know, a couple of weeks ago when Donald Trump said, I'm young, I've got more vigor and vim than anybody. Right. Well, you know what? You look at a clip like that and he does. He just does. Let's just be blunt about Donald Trump. That guy can do on a campaign stage what nobody else can do. He can engage the audience. He can engage viewers despite the hateful rhetoric, despite everything else. You can see that guy is gearing up for 2020. And yes, Democrats, he's going to be hard to beat because he does look like he's about 20 years younger than a lot of Democratic candidates.
And that's very real. He does look a lot younger, a lot more energetic, and he looks like he's winning. You know, Beto went on The View the other day and talked about a guy who's been neutered. I don't even know what that's about. He started out with just a flailing, was it Vanity Fair thing that went sideways, and then he continued to go on an apology tour, and I watched him on a few interviews, and I saw him on The View, and I thought to myself, that's not a person you're following anywhere. That's not. For all of the craziness of Trump and the stuff that is just on the outside is just insane, I'll take Trump in a street fight. And a lot of these politics and the people you're dealing with, you need a little bit of a street fight. And I don't see him standing up to Xi Jinping. I don't see him standing up to any of the Ayatollahs, old Beto there. I don't see him standing up to Rocket Man. I don't see any of that stuff. He looks like he should host a daytime talk show. That's what you're going to get, Beto. And Biden, we'll see. That thing you said the other day about China makes me really think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. China's not really a threat. Don't worry that my son, who's never done anything in venture capital and finance, just got $1 billion from them. Oh, jeez. If that was Trump's family, you'd be losing it, and rightly so. Goodness me. Hey, Blink is amazing. No contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable. And let me tell you something. You want to know what's going on outside of your house and what's going on inside your house. That's where Blink comes in. Their motion-activated indoor cameras and outdoor cameras are amazing. Wire-free setup in minutes, run on 2 AA batteries, last up to years. And I got my son's mom this because they've had some incidents up and down the street. And I said, you know what? This is perfect. You can monitor what's going on. Plus, let's be real. It's also kind of a good way to maybe avoid some of those weird neighbors you don't want to if they know you're home. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying I'm just saying. Amazing, too. They got the Blink smartphone app. You can do that. You got the live feed option there. You can see what's going on inside your house. It is incredible. Works with Alexa. Blink system's simple, quick to install, brilliant way to monitor your package delivery. Visit blinkprotect.com/Benson. That's blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is an Amazon company. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we make no apologies, although we do say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers now and then. Amen.
If it seems like you're getting more robocalls or those unwanted spam calls, it's because you likely are receiving more. The volume of calls has nearly doubled in the past 2 years for robocalls, from 2.7 billion a month in 2017, according to call blocker UMail, to more than 5 billion a month. The Federal Communications Commission will take up a vote in June on whether to expand current rules for wireless companies to block spam calls by default. Congress could also take up legislation to allow phone companies to identify phone numbers of robocalls, and wireless companies are also working on ways to give customers more options.
No doubt, but how do you identify a phone number that's my phone number calling me? Or my favorite one is 0000000000000. So far today, I don't know, I'm at like 6 robocalls. It depends. And I keep telling everybody, wait till election season comes around, because you're going to get so many of them. And unlike other robocalls, you can't get rid of those. They're protected. So you're just going to have what? 1,000 quadrillion other phone calls on top of your 1,000 quadrillion nightmare phone calls you get right now. So be prepared to be prepared. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. We've got a poll question up today with immigration once again kind of becoming front and center. And some of the stuff that Trump would like to do, which is including in this plan that he has, is a merit-based system. And how would you feel about a merit-based system? Are you open to a merit-based system? Well, guess what, kids? A majority of you are. 66% say we should have a merit-based immigration system. 14% says no, and 20% say in some cases, and I'm certain education, whether or not you're buying a business over here. It's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. It's not going to become a law, but it does open up more of a debate on when you start to break down and see how our system is awarding green cards and things of that. I think that's a little bit eye-opening for a lot of people out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It's Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Seattle's homelessness crisis is deeply connected to the city's drug crisis. Washington native Eric Nelson is homeless. He lives in a nearby shelter where he's undergoing methadone treatment. He came to this encampment to visit friends.
Do you think drugs are one of the primary drivers of homelessness?
I think mental health is. Mental health is the foundation of, a lot of, addiction and other things.
Drugs, mental health, I think it's all connected. I mean, what came first? You were self-medicating because you had mental issues, or you started just partying too much and then you became, well, essentially, you have mental health problems. You see a lot of that. But whenever we talk about homelessness, here we are debating the whole immigration thing, right? We're debating this immigration thing. Trump's out, today doing his thing, giving this big immigration stuff. We're talking about all the people we have at the borders. People are sleeping outside. And we're essentially ushering. Imagine this. I read an article today that said, what if a city the size of Orlando showed up at your border and tried to get in? You'd be like, oh, well, how are we going to take care of those people? We've got homeless problems we can't take care of. We're not doing much other than doing this compassionate BS that we call it, which is essentially enabling them, and it's not making it any easier for the people that have to live around it, for the people who have to work around it, for the people who have to survive day to day getting to and from places where, whether it's San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, or any big city across the country, and even some smaller places. New Mexico's shipping people to Denver that are coming here illegally because they don't have the places to put them. Yet they have people that are homeless all over the place, and they feel like they're completely getting ignored. But part of the problem is that so many of these cities are enabling these kind of things to continue to happen there. It is frustrating. And we want to ignore the problem at the border. Why? I'm just curious. We don't seem to be taking care of the people here. Hell, Cher said that. Cher, do you believe in life after love? She said it. We're not taking care of people here. And yet you want to import more people here. I'm confused.
When we arrived on a Wednesday afternoon, the residents were cleaning up their camp. It was littered with syringes.
How many people would you say, like, as a percentage of people living out here are doing drugs?
I would say a good 60%. That's maybe a little short, but...
How easy is it to get heroin?
Really? It's really easy.
Even outside the I-5 camp, there was evidence of a drug epidemic throughout Seattle.
Yeah. And if you look at it, like there's an article that came out the other day on the numbers saying, do immigrants and crime, is it worse? Is it better? They commit it less than native born and all of these things, and then there's debate of whether, well, that's a federal crime because most of the federal sentencing is immigration related, but then you have state crimes, and we could debate that all day. What we know is there's stuff happening in places like Seattle and Los Angeles and Sacramento, San Francisco, all the way to across the country. You go to Florida, they've got their problems. I mean, Texas has their problems. You go and you look at these places and you say to yourself, crime's happening in a lot of these areas, and it's just being kind of brushed aside. But that affects how many people? A lot of people. And we ignore it. And it's this, whenever I talk about this, I get these, wow, you don't like homeless people. Never once said that. No. But at some point in time, you have to say the compassion side isn't working. You've got rampant crime in a lot of these areas. You have just people who are trying to get the hell out of these areas because they're afraid of dropping property values. The neighborhoods are getting worse and worse and worse, and they're afraid for their kids. They're afraid. It's ridiculous. And yet here we are ignoring what's going on at the border because why? Can anybody just explain that to me? And these rules, this baloney kind of compassion. I continue to say this. Has anybody ever watched any of those addiction shows? Has anybody, at some point in time, you have to do what? You have to stand up and say, all right, this isn't working, and our compassion here is only enabling people to do bad things, hurt themselves even more, and this bad behavior is being rewarded by us paying no attention to it.
Homelessness became more visible as Seattle's leaders became more lenient on petty crime. Because of their liberal attitudes and the mild climate, the city is a magnet for vagrants. Nelson thinks most of the people at the I-5 camp didn't grow up in the area.
Probably about more than half. Probably not from Seattle.
Take a look at this picture of people living in broken down RVs. In the background, the world headquarters of Starbucks.
Yeah. Keep enabling, and you're going to keep getting it, and you're going to keep inviting it. Because people are going to continue to come over and over and over and over. You've got a mental health issue. You've got a drug issue. And you are not showing the compassion you think you are. All you're doing is hurting your city and hurting the other people. And if they even speak up, you come after them. And it's a joke. And all the while this is going on, we're battling immigration and ignoring what's happening there. And we're inviting more people to come here with no plans, by the way. With no, that's the thing that is, that and I visited so many borders from McAllen to Tucson, Yuma, down to San Diego, and a lot of places in between. And the things that, as I've talked to people over the last several months, that they've seen ratcheted up when it comes to immigration, and is the fact that a lot of times when people were coming here, there was kind of a plan, right? There was some sort of plan. They knew kind of what they were doing. And in some cases, that's still true. But what border agents are telling me more and more now, what you're finding is people are coming here with no plan. They just know that there are laws that they can use to benefit them to get into the country. They're not coming here with specific plans that they used to have, family, this, that, and the other. And that is not a good situation, which means more for everybody else to take care of. It's frustrating. And nobody, right? Like Lindsey Graham's got his thing he's doing. Trump goes out, talks about his, these are my 6 things I want to do in the pillars, and Jared Kushner and blah, 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 blah. And it's never going to become law no matter what he says. Lindsey Graham's coming out talking about his thing.
Senator Lindsey Graham says the difference between the White House's new immigration plan and the one he unveiled yesterday is that his is, quote, designed to become law. Graham went on to say President Trump's proposal aims at unifying the Republican Party, whereas his is focusing on addressing the border crisis. The White House's plan, drafted by Jared Kushner, implements a merit-based system for granting immigrants legal entry. It also calls for construction of some border wall.
It's not going to become law. It's just not. None of these things are. It's all talking points because you and I don't have the power to fix this, right? Like, we'd like to think we have some control in our lives so we could, our vote, which is so vitally important. It's great to put people in certain places. That's all real. But there are some things that, we can handle ourselves. This isn't one of them. That's why we put people in charge. You go do this. We got our other things to do. And they don't want to get it done. So it's just, it's a waste of time and waste of our resources to continue to sit here and look at people that aren't getting anything done and hoping and praying that we get the perfect storm in some way, shape, or form of the right politicians at the right time and place. Like, it's almost like, you ever watch any of those movies where it's like, okay, it only happens once every 612 years when the sun and the moon align with these stars, and then all of a sudden you have a 30-second time thing where you could run through and it's going to happen. That's what it feels like we need in politics to get anything major done. And it feels like we're just leaving everything when it comes to our politicians to chance and luck. And I don't know about you, but that's not good enough for me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So Alyssa Milano, of course, is telling everybody, don't have sex until we get things fixed when it comes to Alabama, Georgia. And today, by the way, Missouri is 8 weeks now. They've passed their bill. And, this entire thing that, that when I listen to everybody talk about this, there's one thing that I don't hear that needs to be heard, but for both men and women who participate in this is personal responsibility. Somewhere along the line, I don't know when it was, we tossed personal responsibility out the window. Right? We did. When it comes to choice, when it comes to a lot of things, it comes to fatherhood, when it comes to all kind, we've seemed to just kind of toss it out the window. Right? And I get frustrated because, you know what? I look at this and this whole thing with what's going on in Alabama, and I want everybody to understand that these laws are there that they're putting in place to challenge. Some of them hope they challenge Roe v. Wade in the Supreme Court. I don't think any of these ones are going to make it there. But a lot of what they're looking for is, hey, we want a lawyer who's now a judge, who's been on the bench for who knows how long, whether it's a man or woman or several of them, to come up with a clear definition so we can figure out what life is, when it starts, whether it's conception or once that child is finally born. And we want a definition, and we want you guys to, because science argues over it. People who are too close to the fire, right? They can't be involved in this because the passions just overheat everything. So that's a lot of what this is they want some sort of specific, tell us when. Is it 8 weeks? Is it 12 weeks? Is it, after the first trimester, that's officially when life begins? That's what they're looking for in a lot of this. So we can then say, well, it's constant, this thing, this fetus, this baby, this boy, this girl, whatever it is, has rights. And that is, that's what you're fighting over in so many ways. And that's what a lot of these things are challenging. Not only are they challenging states' rights, but they're looking for some sort of clear definition. And you're going to see more of these. In conservative states, you'll see more challenges like this to it. And hopefully they think that it'll get to Roe v. Wade, will get overturned. I don't think that's going to happen. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong in the future. But it is, and then they're going to come out and they're going to say, well, this is disproportionately going to affect these people, that people. I look at this. I would love to see, I'd love to see over-the-counter contraceptive when it comes to the pill, when it comes to, so many, you should just be able to go buy it. makes everything easier, takes a lot of stuff off, and then we can look at stuff and say, where's your personal responsibility? Well, I didn't have money to get this. Well, if you didn't have money to get this, you should have thought about these things. We take personal responsibility out of so many things nowadays, and it drives me crazy. Do I think this bill in Alabama went too far? Absolutely. But do I also think we never talk enough about personal responsibility? Oh, yeah, we don't talk enough about it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Got a poll question up today, and it is about immigration. Do you think, because one of the things that Trump outlines is the fact that he wants to go to a merit-based system. Do you think we should move in that direction? 60% say yes, 13% say no, I don't think so. I do not think so. 28% say yeah in some cases. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can tweet at me or text me as well. Hey, I'm working with an amazing organization. They really are incredible. I spoke with them last week, and the things that they're doing is just, it's amazing. Every year, thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs are being euthanized, and at the same time, we're losing about 20 veterans a day to suicide. So Wounded Paw came along, and the Wounded Paw Project, what they do is they connect our furry friends with our nation's heroes, and it's amazing. They go and they rescue dogs and transform them from shelter dogs to service dogs for our veterans, first responders, and their families, and they're looking for your help. They want any unwanted vehicle you have. They don't care what it is. It could be, it's tax deductible. It could be an RV, a car, a truck. It can run, doesn't have to run. Whatever it is, they'll come, they'll take it. They make it absolutely easy. You just donate the vehicle, and they take your donations as well. It's simple. It's easy to donate. Call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729. Or visit woundedpaw.careasy.org. That's simple. Take action today. Turn your extra car, truck, or RV into something that will save a paw and save a life. 844-678-4PAW or woundedpaw.careasy.org. That simple, that easy. Do it. It is an amazing organization. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson, Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
The study by the National Institutes of Health defines heavily processed foods as items with ingredients predominantly found in industrial food manufacturing, like hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, and flavoring agents. Researchers watched two groups of people for 2 weeks. One group ate ultra-processed meals. The other group ate minimally processed food. The meals had identical amounts of calories and other nutrients, but people in the ultra-processed group ate more of those meals and gained about 2 pounds. The unprocessed group ate less and lost about 2 pounds.
Yeah, you know what? It's, of course, we all know what's good for you and what's not good for you. It's a lot of it's portion control. And one of the things they said, one of the things when people are obese that they're starting to see is they have one weird kind of trait that they're looking at, and several studies are being done on this right now because they've done a few studies and looked, and groups that have done studies that they didn't know other groups were doing studies, when they compared their notes essentially and their findings, is that people who are obese tend to have a different clock and a different perception of things, whether that's distance and time. And they think that's one of the reasons that maybe they overeat. And that's an odd thing to think about. But yeah, they feel like essentially their body's telling them they're hungry. Like, oh my God, I just ate, I haven't eaten in hours, when you really ate an hour ago. But it feels like it, and that's one of the things we're looking at. That was a part of the processed foods and addiction and things like that. They'll dig deeper. But it is an interesting thing to think about because, we got an issue here in this country and globally right now is we're nutritionally overachieving. And, who'd have thought 30, 40, 50 years ago when a good portion of the globe, 35% of it was, facing real starvation. Now it's about 10% are extremely poverty-ridden, and there isn't famine outside of some war-torn areas. It's a good thing, but also a bad thing if we don't have border control. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. We got a poll question up. It's on immigration. What do you think of a merit-based immigration system as Trump rolled out today? Are you for it? Are you against it? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. Your useless fact of the day: about 500 people a day die of snake bites globally. It's about 180,000 people worldwide. About 500,000 suffer really bad things like amputations, and they never recover. Think about that next time you think to yourself, a shark attack. Have a good rest of your day. I see Friday. It's right there. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.